Welcome to the channel, welcome to another video. Today we're talking Fast, talking Furious, talking the treatment of my second favorite character behind Han. We're talking the treatment of Vince. Let's take a moment to talk about old Vince.
Old coyotes are us.
He is introduced in Fast 1 and is hard to sympathize with for sure. He's the major antagonist to Brian, but I've always liked him and I've never cared for the treatment he gets in Fast 1 or in Fast 5. As background, Vince always has Dom's back, is forever loyal, and has sound judgment and instincts.
He mows like a cop.
But Dom never listens to Vince, makes mistakes as a result, and then Vince gets hurt or blamed. In my world, Vince would have been much more involved in this franchise, with a more important role to play and especially better closure. And there are a few ways they could have done this without upsetting the remainder of the franchise, by just making a few small changes. If I had my way, it would have started in Fast 4 and would have gone down like this. Brian and Dom are running the job driving from Mexico through the desert and the tunnels. They're following Phoenix, who is driving in the lead, but there is a mystery car obviously working with Phoenix, helping to control the convoy from the rear. After the job is done, but before Dom's car blows up, this mystery driver is revealed to be Vince. He is there face to face with Dom and recognizes Brian, but says nothing. Dom instantly begins to wonder about Vince's, his best friend's, possible role in Letty's death. Tons of tension. It becomes clear that Vince, after earlier realizing Dom is one of the drivers, by recognizing his driving style and his car, and knowing what happens to the drivers, has set his car to explode to try to save Dom. Dom has of course also set his car to explode, so there are two nearly simultaneous NOS explosions. Seeing Vince's car explode, Dom knows that Vince did this to help him. They all scatter in the melee. Vince chases Dom and catches him and Brian as they hide momentarily. Vince and Dom have a one-on-one during which Vince explains that he tried to save Letty. Flashback footage shows that Vince warned Letty the drivers would be killed after the job and created the diversion that allowed her to run, but that he couldn't stop Phoenix from chasing and killing her. It's clear Vince bears guilt for not doing more and not being able to save Letty. Vince's guilt allows Dom to talk Vince out of going back and revealing who Brian really is to Phoenix and Braga. Voices are heard. Others are getting close. "We gotta go now," Brian says. Vince turns to Brian and asks, "How's Mia?" Brian responds, "Mrs. Dom, misses you." Vince turns and disappears into the night. Everything else happens per normal in Fast 4. No Vince. Vince resurfaces in Fast 5 per usual. What does this do for us? This helps us to appreciate Vince's character more and would add some tension to Fast 4 as well. Ultimately though, I just think this is important to give Vince some credit and some greater role. He is basically just the opponent for Brian in Fast 1 and is characterized as a heel. But he's actually right about Brian in Fast 1, proving Dom should have listened to him. Vince is also right about things in Fast 5. He finds out about the chip and just wants to take it to Reyes's men and make things right. Brian, Dom, and Mia won't have to be involved. And see my series of videos on Fast 5 for more. But I don't believe that Vince was aware that there was more to the train job than just grabbing the cars and selling them. He found out about the chip later. But what about Fast 5? I would use Fast 5 to close the loop on the Letty, Dom, Vince, Braga plotline, and to improve some huge issues with the beginning of Fast 5. It's risky messing with Fast 5, the best one ever, but here goes. Dom still shows up in Rio finding Vince. However, with the changes to Fast 4, namely Vince being on Braga's team back in Mexico, Dom would have reason to doubt Vince's sincerity now, making the huge issues with Act 1 of Fast 5 less troubling. See my Fast 5 plot issue video for more. After the train heist goes wrong, Vince still returns to the hideout, tries to take the chip, and says he didn't know. But instead of Dom just saying, "You should have come clean," meaning you should have come clean after you came back here, meaning that Dom is excommunicating Vince because of just that issue, Dom would be justified in rejecting Vince's explanation that he didn't know and found out all they wanted was the chip after the job went bad, and thus more reason to still excommunicate him. Dom's justified doubts about Vince, based on what was added to Fast 4, would make his later redemption better as well. Further, during the excommunication scene, I would have Vince extend his soliloquy as a friendly warning to Dom. Here goes. "I've always been loyal to you, Dom, above all else. Let me give you some advice. Be careful who you trust. Be careful who you blame." Needs work, I know. I'm not a writer, but you get the idea. This comes back to Dom, as Hobbs' men are killed in the ambush, which is also the scene where Vince gets shot. When Dom gives Hobbs his hand, Vince's words are playing over the sound of the scene. Dom impliedly following Vince's advice to be careful who he blames, ultimately deciding not to blame Hobbs for everything and instead to join Hobbs. With this, Dom and Hobbs teaming up will seem less forced. Plus, this will give Vince's character some closure. So that's what I think they could have done much better about Vince's character. He should have been more involved in Fast 4 and more involved in Fast 5 as well. What do you think? Is Vince endearing to anyone other than me? Would you have liked to see Vince used more in these movies? That's all I have on Vince. Keep it fast, keep it furious.
There was a time when I didn't know you.
That was in the 3rd grade.